Understanding Mother Stories podcast with Adeline Dubreuil. Your 10 minutes to talk about mothering and matrescence. Hello Mama, today I have a new story to tell you. Something that happened with my daughter a few years ago, and this story had me thinking about how big this is for every human being, for every child, every mother, and it's about having the ability and the right to say, I am not okay. So the story is simple. I think that my daughter was about 3 years old and she got hurt. She fell on a stick that another child was holding. She cried. She came to me. She was very upset. So I asked her where it was hurting and she could not really say. So I think the pet was already gone, but the situation itself had upset her. So for context, I was pregnant at the time and very sick. I did not have the patience and the compassion that I usually have. Not that it's an excuse, but I think it was my reality, and you might also feel it, or you might have felt it when you were pregnant or sick, or in a situation where you can't hold space and compassion for others because it's just already too much for you. So I took her on my lap and I hugged her, and to kind of speed up the process for her to stop being upset, I said, "You're okay." And she got mad at me and said, "No, I am not okay." And she started to cry even more. Of course, her reaction was strong, but totally justified. And right away I realized and told myself, well, of course, why did I just say that? Who am I to tell her how she feels? So now let me ask you, how often do you or have you told your child, "You're okay," as an affirmation, but not a question? Honestly, it happens to everyone. It slips. We just say it without even thinking. And especially if you're not in a place where yourself, you're not okay, and you're triggered by it, it might happen even more. So my point here is not to tell you that I should have made a big deal of her getting hurt and being upset. I don't want to feed the pain. But what I believe I should have done is to acknowledge the feeling and just wait it out until she would tell me how I could help. Or I could also have asked her how I could help. Or just until she was feeling better. So this is something to think about. How can we change the narrative around situations like this? We can acknowledge by saying things like, "You did get hurt. Oh, I'm sorry this happened to you. How can I help you? Would you like a hug?" Or anything that would be a version of this because you adapted to your child who you know really well, right? So, "Did you get hurt? I'm sorry this happened to you. How can I help you? Would you like a hug?" We can also make sure that the child knows that they are allowed to have emotions around this and say something like, "It is okay for you to feel sad or angry or upset. You are allowed to cry." You can also ask questions, especially when the children are slightly older toddlers or like young children. "What happened? How do you feel?" And then we need to hold the space for them to talk and express themselves and tell us what happened and tell us how they feel. So this story got me thinking about our ability or inability to just accept feelings the way they are. A negative feeling is as valid as any other. And as long as I was safe holding the space for her pain, then why didn't I do that? So I believe that we do that a lot in life. We just use this phrase, "I'm okay," or another version which is, "I'm fine, I'm good." But really we're just answering to something to avoid really saying how we feel. Why is it that we can't say, "I'm not okay"? Why do we do that? Is it that we feel like our feelings can't be expressed? Or do we feel that the person in front of us can't hold the space for us? Or is it just a habit that we have taken to just not express negative feelings? So I'm not talking about dwelling in our own pain, but we have to at least be able to recognize, name the feeling, and express it, so it can pass, right? And on the other hand, How many times do we use the question, "How are you?" But we are not ready for the answer. We expect the, "Oh, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm fine." So you might tell me, "Yeah, well, this is chit-chat, this is what we do, it maintains communication." Yes, it's true. But if you think about it, personally, I think it's fake communication. If you're asking a question, or if someone asks you a question, but you are or they're not actually really ready to listen to the answer and hold the space for that answer. This is why we're not letting ourselves say, "I'm not okay." Because if we feel that we are not able to listen to another person's answer, then we don't let ourselves answer honestly either. I was actually talking about this with someone I know who works in a retail store, where the chit-chat is something that they do a lot because it maintains connection with the clients in the aisle, at the cashier. And she told me that she hates this chit-chat. She feels fake. She feels like sometimes silence would actually be better than just asking, "How are you?" for the sake of asking. We do the same when we see a friend in a store, when we meet someone. So now, you might feel differently, and that's absolutely okay. But let's go back to how would we feel, or how do we feel, when our partner asks us, "How are you?" or "How was your day?" But then they actually hardly pay attention to the answer, and you start talking, and they're just not paying attention to you at all, because they just asked out of habit. Would this feel good to you, or does it feel good to you? Because personally, it would not feel good to me. And when it comes to asking a new mother how she's feeling after she gave birth, or as she's sleep-deprived, tired, if you ask a new mother how she is and how she's feeling, are you ready to deal with the answer and acknowledge the feelings they're having, whether it's positive or negative? Can you hold the space for their feelings, just like I should have done with my daughter in my story earlier? If you happen to be this mother who needs people to hold space for your answers, then maybe send them this episode and give them food for thoughts. I'm here for you. Until next time, Mama. Hey, Mama, would you like to have some more clarity on the kind of mother you want to be, or you need help to get where you want to be? Then go to omama.ca and grab my free journaling challenge. I will help you every single day get where you want to be.